Welcome to the Grace Period, where we get real about attorney mental health and well-being and pull back the veil in the high-stakes world of big law. I'm your host, Emily Logan Stedman, a commercial litigator, partner, and someone who believes there's always room for a little more grace, even in a high-stakes profession. On the Grace Period, I share real stories from my own journey in big law and invite you behind the scenes, beyond the billable hour, to talk about what it means to stay human, even in a demanding field. Whether you're a lawyer, legal professional, or someone trying to find your footing, this space is for you. To pull back the curtain, start the conversation, and find our grace period together. Disclaimer: the views and opinions shared on this podcast are mine alone and do not necessarily reflect those of my firm or any organization. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not legal advice, and listening does not create an attorney-client relationship. On episode 58 of the Grace Period, last week, we talked about vacations, big, real time off. Today, I want to talk about something that's a little more my speed, and that is taking breaks. Little ones, micro breaks. This can feel rebellious in big law. That's why I like it, because it helps you feel in control and build that sense of autonomy. We often, as high achievers and or attorneys, tell ourselves, power through, finish one more thing, I'll rest when I'm done. The problem, done is never there. There's always more to do, and that mindset leads to burnout. Here's what the science says. Breaks, real and intentional ones, make you more focused, more creative, and less likely to make mistakes. Yes, our culture in the United States glorifies hustle and stamina, not rest, but that does not lead us to being our best selves or the best attorneys we can be. So let's break it down. Micro breaks are tiny pauses, 1 to 10 minutes that you can do throughout your day. Maybe you stand up and stretch. Maybe you go for a quick walk. Maybe you just walk across the street to grab lunch. Maybe you take a few deep breaths and step away from your screen. Maybe you grab a coffee and actually, drink it, not just mindlessly gulp it while you're, sending a bunch of emails. The key is to make them intentional and frequent. When I started this, I literally set alarms on my phone to just look away and take a breather about 3 or 4 times a day. Sometimes, and you've heard me talk about this a lot if you're a longtime listener of the podcast, use a timer. Quite literally flip a timer to 2 minutes and tell yourself to do nothing. Take a micro break. The other types of breaks are macro breaks, which we talked about last week. Vacations, a half day off, a real weekend unplugged, any kind of time where you actually step away from work. We like to pretend as attorneys and high achievers and maybe anxious people like me, we pretend that we don't need these breaks. But every time I take one, I'm better for it. Macro breaks are not a luxury, and I would say that micro breaks aren't a luxury either. We always feel the need to fill our calendars and pack. We can be looking over our shoulders and at our watches and phones when people stop by our offices just to say hello and to connect. But I bet there are a lot of times that you have those moments, those unplanned breaks, where that's what you look back on as a highlight of your day. That's what you look back on and remember. That's what helped me be refreshed and get back to my task with more intention and better focus. So, micro breaks. Yes, vacations are important. The big time off is necessary to have a sustainable career, but the micro breaks are just as important. Throughout your day, pause, set a reminder on your calendar, set an alarm on your phone, and take a break, even if it's just 10 deep breaths. One way to start this is doing just that, putting it on your calendar. Another way is to tell your teammates your boundaries. Say to your assistant, I'll be offline after this time and I'll be back in the morning. They can help you be accountable to that. And give yourself permission. Rest is necessary to recover from our careers and the stress of our daily lives. Rest is necessary to be the best humans and attorneys we can be. Essentially, it's part of our job if we want to do our job well and for a long time. And because I do this, I'm generally, not always, because this is not about perfection, I'm generally more present with my clients, with my husband. I'm less resentful, and I get more done. So yes, even taking micro breaks or the bigger ones like we talked about last week, I still meet my goals. I still achieve them, and I achieve them better with more energy and a more positive attitude. So if you need permission to take a small break or a big one, this is it. I'm giving you permission. Take the break, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 days. You are not slacking. You're investing in your future and in your own excellence. Thank you for joining me on this episode of The Grace Period. Remember, you don't have to choose between your well-being and your ambition. By setting boundaries, building supportive habits, and giving yourself permission to pause, you can thrive in law and in life. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. That is the path to our grace period. Disclaimer, the views expressed here are solely my own and do not represent the official policy or position of my firm or any organization. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only, not professional or legal advice, and does not create an attorney-client relationship.